Have you ever questioned yourself as a leader, wondering how you can inspire your employees to become better versions of themselves, and how you can be a role model to motivate them? Today, I will derive the first 4 key methods from the book, 100 Ways to Motivate Others by Steve Chandler and Scott Richardson, on how great leaders can produce insane results without driving people crazy. I will also add some of my own conclusions and ideas at the end of each method, providing insights from my own perspective. Method number 1. Know where motivation comes from. Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it. By Dwight Eisenhower, there was a manager named Tom who came early to a seminar we were presenting on leadership. He was attired in an olive green polo, short and white pleated slacks, ready for a day of golf. The golfer, Tom, walked to the front of the room and said, "Look, your session is not mandatory, so I'm not planning on attending." "That's fine, but I wonder why you came early to this session to tell us that. There must be something that you'd like to know." "Well, yes there is," the manager confessed. "All I want to know is how to get my people on the sales team to improve. How do I manage them?" "Is that all you want to know?" "Yes, that's it," declared the manager. "Well, we can save you a lot of time and make sure that you get to your golf game on time." The manager, Tom, leaned forward, waiting for the words of wisdom that he could extract about how to manage his people. And we told him, "You can't." "What?" "You can't manage anyone, so there, you can go and have a great game." "What are you saying?" asked the manager. "I thought you give whole seminars on motivating others. What do you mean, I can't?" "We do give whole seminars on this topic. But one of the first things we teach managers is that they can't really directly control their people. Motivation always comes from within your employee, not from you." "So what is it you do teach?" "We teach you how to get people to motivate themselves. That is the key. And you do that by managing agreements, not people. And that is what we are going to discuss this morning." The manager put his car keys in his pocket and sat down in the first seat closest to the front of the room for the rest of the seminar. This concludes the first method of motivating others. While we believe that you can inspire others for a brief period, if you want them to remain motivated despite circumstances, they need to learn how to motivate themselves. This not only sustains their motivation in the short term, but also makes them emotionally stronger in the long run. Method number 2. Teach self-discipline. Discipline is remembering what you want. By David Campbell, founder, Saks Fifth Avenue. The myth, which almost everyone believes, is that we have self-discipline. It's something in us, like a genetic gift, that we either have or we don't. The truth is that we don't have self-discipline, we use self-discipline. Here's another way to realize it. Self-discipline is like a language. Any child can learn a language. All children do learn a language, actually. Any 90-year-old can also learn a language. If you are 9 or 90 and let's say you're lost in the rain in Juarez, it works when you use some Spanish to find your way to warmth and safety. It works. In this case, Spanish is like self-discipline, in that you are using it for something. You were not born with it, but you can use it. In fact, you can use as much or as little as you wish. And the more you use, the more you can make happen. If you were an American transferred to Juarez to live for a year and needed to make your living there, the more Spanish you used, the better it would be for you. If you had never used Spanish before, you could still use it. You can open your little English-Spanish phrases dictionary and start using it. You can ask for directions or help right out of that little dictionary. You didn't need to have been born with anything special. The same is true with self-discipline in the same exact way. Yet most people don't believe that. Most people think they either have it or they don't. Most people think it's a character trait or a permanent aspect of their personality. That's a profound mistake. That's a mistake that can ruin a life. But the good news is that it is never too late to correct that mistake in yourself and your people. It's never too late to learn the real truth. And listen to how people get this so wrong. He would be my top salesperson if he had any self-discipline at all, a company leader recently said. But he has none. Not true. He has as much self-discipline as anyone else does. He just hasn't chosen to use it yet. Just as we all have as many Spanish words to draw upon as anyone else. It is true that the more often I choose to go to my little dictionary and use the words, the easier it gets to use Spanish. If I go enough times to the book and practice enough words and phrases, it gets so easy to speak Spanish that it seems like it's part of my nature, like it's something I have inside me. Just like golf looks like it comes naturally to Tiger Woods, self-discipline is the same. If the person you lead truly understood that self-discipline is something one uses, not something one has, then that person could use it to accomplish virtually any goal he or she ever set. They could use it whenever they wanted, or leave it behind whenever they wanted. Instead, they worry. They worry about whether they've got what it takes, whether it's in them, whether their parents and guardians put it there. Some think it's put there experientially. Some think it's put there genetically. It's neither. It's never put in there at all. It's a tool that anyone can use, like a hammer, like a dictionary. Enlightened leaders get more out of their people because they know that each of their people already has everything it takes to be successful. They don't buy the excuses, the apologies, the sad fatalism that most non-performers skillfully sell to their managers. They just don't buy it. This is the second method of motivating others. Discipline is key to any success story. It is not something people are born with, but rather something they are consciously aware of, deem essential, and use consistently until it becomes a habit. Discipline is like a ruler that helps students draw a straight line. Similarly, in your planning, having a plan and a goal is essential, but if you do not follow your plan, you may find it hard to reach your goal. Discipline is required to execute your plan consistently. Method number 3. Tune in before you turn on. Don't tell people how to do things, tell them what to do and let them surprise you with their results. By George S. Patton. You can't motivate someone who can't hear you if what you're saying is bouncing off their psychological armor. It makes little difference how good you are at saying it. You are not being heard. Your people have to hear you to be moved by you. In order for someone to hear you, she must first be heard. It doesn't work the other way around. It doesn't work when you always go first. Because your employee must first appreciate that you are on her wavelength and understand her thinking completely. As leadership guru Warren Bennis has said, the first rule in any kind of coaching is that the coach has to engage in deep listening, which means that the coach must relate to the context in which the other is reasoning. They must tune in to where the other is coming from. In short, perhaps the basis of leadership is the capacity of the leader to change the mindset, the framework of the other. That's not easy, as I needn't tell you for most of us, thinking that we have tuned into the other person, usually are listening most intently to ourselves. We were working with a financial services CEO named Lance who had difficulties with his 4-woman major account team. They didn't care for him and didn't trust him and dreaded every meeting with him as he would go over their shortcomings. Lance was at his wit's end and asked for coaching. Meet with each of them one at a time, we advised. What do I say? Say nothing, just listen. Listen to what? The person across from you. What's my agenda? No agenda. What do I ask them? How is life? How is life for you in this company? What would you change? Then what? Then just listen. I don't know if I could do that. The source of his major account team's low morale had just been identified. The rest was up to Lance. Method number 4. Be the cause, not the effect. Shallow people believe in luck. Wise and strong people believe in cause and effect. Ralph Waldo Emerson. A masterful motivator of others asks, what do we want to cause to happen today? What do we want to produce? Those are the best management questions of all. People who have a hard time managing people simply have a hard time asking themselves those 2 questions because they're always thinking about what's happening to them instead of what they're going to cause to happen. When your people see you as a cause instead of an effect, it won't be hard to teach them to think the same way. Soon, you will be causing them to play far beyond their own self-concepts. You can cause that to happen. In this method, I learned that being a leader should always serve as an example for his or her people. Being a role model is a fundamental aspect of management, which can inspire people to be proactive in their respective areas. Thank you for watching. We will introduce more methods in part 2, so please subscribe, like, and share to stay updated on our upcoming videos.